I've spent thousands of hours trying to become a decent public speaker, and today I want to share with you 4 quick lessons to help you become a person people want to listen to. If you stick around to the end, there's something I'm super excited about that has the possibility to bring crazy value to your communication journey. I've heard it said that the greatest indicator of success is what you do when no one is watching. So lesson number 1 is my performance is connected to my preparation. Think about Steph Curry, who at the time of this recording has almost 4,000 career made three-pointers, which is insane because I don't think I've made 4,000 threes in my life. Obviously, he's the best shooter of all time, but do you think this is something he just got good at? Or has he gotten really good at preparation and become obsessed with the process that allows him to perform? I read an article that said every single day he shoots at least 500 three-pointers, and over the course of his career, he's 30-something years old. Man, Steph Curry has probably shot the basketball over 1 million times. It's no wonder he's such a great shooter. He is prepared to perform. He prepares to be successful. As a communicator, you don't just get up there, wing it, and hope it's all gonna work out. I had a mentor tell me one time, for every 5 minutes you're up on the stage, you need at least an hour of preparation. So if you have a 15-minute talk, you better have prepared for at least 3 minutes, and that's just the bare minimum. Because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So do your research, know your content, but also know your audience. Know what motivates them. Know what their fears or stressors are. If you can make it seem like your message was made specifically for an individual, it's much more likely that that message is going to be received by your listener. I made a video that goes a little bit more in depth with that thought, and you can check out the link here on the screen. Last thing on this thought, and this might be obvious, but have a plan. You don't just get in the car and hope that you know where you're going. You either have the directions memorized or you use GPS. Make an outline or a script that works for you. But also be so familiar with your content that you're sharing out of the overflow of what you already know, not just off of the bare minimum of what you prepared. When you're able to reference your plan, reference your outline, more than actually read your outline, it makes you so much more able to engage with your audience, which brings us to point number 2. The best communicators don't convey all their information. They don't hit all their points. They don't nail all their jokes or tell all their stories. The best communicators connect. So lesson number 2 is communication is all about connection. I know you've heard a message before and walked away feeling inspired or motivated or even challenged to do something. In that case, the communicator did an excellent job of connecting with you, relating with you, and moving you to action. On the other hand, you might have been in a meeting or some other presentation and you've been like, what is this guy talking about? He has all of the correct information, the facts, the stories, but there's little connection with you, and so it doesn't leave you inspired to do anything. If your audience is going to listen to you, then they first have to trust you, and you as the communicator have to earn that trust from your listener. Think of an electrical cord and a power outlet. Sure, there's potential for power, but it's not until the two are connected that power is able to flow to the item. Your job as the communicator is to figure out how you are going to connect with your audience. Maybe you have a good story that's going to connect with your audience, or maybe you have a good sense of humor, or maybe you're just an expert in whatever it is that you're talking about and you're able to present complex information in a simple and digestible manner. Use whatever you can to make your audience open up to what it is that you have to say as the communicator. I remember early on in my communication journey, I was getting ready to give a presentation and someone stopped me and said, Trevor, first, you need to endear yourself to your audience. Tell them about yourself. Tell them about your family. Tell them something that they will like you, so that way when you get to your content, they'll be ready to listen to you. And I truly believe that as you do the work of connecting with your audience, it makes communicating with your audience so much more effective. Speaking of stories, that takes us to lesson number 3. What makes a great movie? It's not the actors. You can have great actors in an awful movie. Remember this? Yeah, that was awful. It's not the use of great CGI effects. A great movie has to have a great story. Think of The Lord of the Rings. Think of Star Wars. Think of Harry Potter or The Lion King. It was the story that made the movie so great. So lesson number 3 is stories always win. Stories may be the most powerful tool in your belt as a communicator. Why? Because everyone has a story. We can all relate to characters in a movie when they have a tough decision to make or they're going through something challenging. We see ourselves in the story. Stories also have the ability to communicate a message without explicitly stating that message. This gives the listener the opportunity to come to their own conclusion about a topic or idea that you, the communicator, are trying to get them to understand. Going back to lesson number 2, stories connect more than facts. Stories invoke emotion, stories are relatable, and stories are memorable. Bottom line, tell more stories. Now, how do you judge or determine whether a presentation is a success or a failure? I played college football, and it always amazed me how we as a team spent just as much time in the film room as we did on the football field. This was because the film revealed things to us as athletes that was unknown to us until we saw it on the film. I can't tell you how many times I experienced a play in real life and was excited to watch it back on film because I thought I did something so cool, only to watch it back on film and be like, I thought that went a lot better. Film doesn't lie in football. Film doesn't lie in communication. So lesson number 4 is objectively evaluate yourself. Now, how do you do that? I've actually learned that my opinion doesn't matter very much. There are times when I feel like I crush it, only to have my audience act like I didn't say anything impressive. And on the flip side, I felt like there were times where I absolutely bombed a presentation, only for people to come up and say, that was so meaningful. How is this true? Because my feelings aren't the indicator of success. And little life tip, that's true for just about everything. But do you go to some random person and solicit their feedback? Well, no, you have to be selective about who it is that you go to. You have to be very intentional in who you ask for feedback. Going back to our previous example, if I'm trying to shoot a basketball, am I going to ask Steph Curry or am I going to ask Beyonce? The answer is pretty obvious. I'm going to ask Steph Curry for basketball-related questions, and I'm going to ask Beyonce for music-related questions. As a communicator, you have to find someone whose input you value. You have to find someone who's probably a little bit more successful in this area than you, or who is living a life that you actually would like to live. This takes vulnerability, but I promise that there can be something so beneficial to you if you allow someone to critique you in a healthy way. They will be able to notice your blind spots or places of weakness or maybe even places of strength, and that can be super beneficial. Which brings me to something I'm super excited about, and that is that I want to work with you when it comes to communication. If you want to grow in your communication skills, there's a link in the description of this video, and you can fill that out and we can get connected to see how I can help you in your communication journey of becoming a person that people want to listen to. Last thing about evaluating yourself as a communicator, just like in sports, we filmed ourselves. There's something super helpful in filming yourself and looking at you through the eyes of your audience and being super objective. Why do I sound like that? Why did I make that note? Why did I do that with my hands? So many things that you might not be aware of, and you're not going to be until you film yourself and watch yourself do it. It's pretty painful, but it's very helpful. That's it, 528 speeches, thousands of hours of practice distilled into 4 quick lessons for you to become a better communicator. Let me know down in the comments which lesson or thought stuck out to you the most. If you haven't yet, it would mean the world if you would like this video and subscribe to the channel, as we're trying to make a community of people who want to become communicators people want to listen to. And if you're looking for another video to watch, this is a great one. Thanks so much for watching.